when I arrived at the bar to pick up my drunk sister. I accidentally overheard her, asking her best friend Shen Yu-chu at the door of the private room, "That little boyfriend you've been hiding, why haven't you brought him out yet?" My heart suddenly tightened. We've been secretly dating for 2 years, and I still haven't told my sister. But I never expected that the next second, Shen Yu's voice, thick with the smell of alcohol, drifted over. "Is that necessary? It's just for fun. I don't take it seriously." I felt my whole body go cold and stiff. Then, I raised my hand and knocked on the private room door. Everyone looked at me and asked, "Why are you here?" My sister Chen Yan immediately put out the cigarette in her hand and patted the spot next to her, signaling me to sit. I said to her, "Mom and Dad told me to pick you up." The driver asked for leave. Chen Yan nodded upon hearing that, then spoke to everyone in the room. "Put out all the cigarettes. My little brother can't stand the smell," a friend teased. "Oh, dotting on your brother so much. So what will you do if he gets a girlfriend?" Chen Yan laughed and cursed, then casually ruffled my hair. "Our Xiaozi is obedient and well-behaved, not like you guys. Don't you dare get any ideas about him." Everyone laughed. Among them, a strange woman spoke up. "What do you mean by that? Are you saying that among us here, no one catches your eye?" Chen Yan looked around, finally stopping on Shen Yu-chu, who hadn't said a word, and joked, "If I had to choose only you, Chu would be passable, a bargain even," calling her sister-in-law. But listening to what she just said, better not let her harm my kid brother. Chen Yan's tone was teasing, clearly just a joke, but Shen Yu-chu's expression became a bit unsightly. She looked up at me for a moment, then quickly turned her head away. Then she said to everyone, "Stop talking nonsense. I treat Chenzi like a biological younger brother too. Truly, a biological younger brother." I looked at her blankly. Her profile looked a bit tense. That distress made my eyes sting involuntarily. "Xiaozi." While I was dazed, Sister Chen Yan's voice pulled my reason back. "Why do you keep staring at your sister, Yu-chu?" I quickly turned my head away, withdrawing my gaze and biting my trembling lip. Everyone teased. "Don't just look at how pretty your sister Yu-chu is. She's not a good woman, you know." Their tone and expressions were teasing and mocking. "That's right, little brother. Just now Yu-chu lost a game and we asked her what she likes in a boyfriend. She said young, easy to control, good-tempered, and doesn't cause trouble. What kind of reason is that? Before, we thought she really liked him. But guess what? She said she saw that the guy liked her so much it was pathetic. She felt a momentary softness in her heart, so she agreed, and she refuses to bring him out for everyone to see. Women who hide their men only have 2 possibilities. 1 is possessiveness is too strong. Afraid friends will notice. 2 is feeling that they'll break up eventually anyway, so there's no need to introduce him to everyone. She just admitted it. "You guys stop talking." Shen Yu-chu spoke up to interrupt, then slammed the wine glass in her hand onto the table. The noise was not small, causing everyone present to immediately fall silent. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became a bit awkward. My sister and Shen Yu-chu had the closest relationship. Seeing this, she frowned and asked, "What's wrong with you? Isn't it just telling you that Liu-kun is coming back? Why the big temper?" Hearing this, my heart skipped a beat. "Liu-kun is coming back?" Shen Yu-chu irritably lit another cigarette. Took a few hard drags, suddenly seemingly remembering I was there, glanced at me, then threw the cigarette into the ice bucket. "Why do you mention him? Come on, stop pretending. Is it that you don't like that hidden little boyfriend? Is Liu-kun still in your heart?" Everyone knew she had a secret boyfriend, but no one knew it was me. When gathering with friends, she would answer that guy's calls, patiently reporting her schedule. No matter how busy work was, she wouldn't forget. Every week she bought gifts for that guy. Even my sister often complained to me that Shin Yu-chu seemed to really care about a guy. Although on the surface I appeared calm, inside I was sweet as honey. 2 years of dating, she was thoughtful, romantic, making it impossible for me to find fault. But the only imperfect thing was, from the start, she asked to hide this relationship. She said if Sister Chen Yan knew her best friend and her brother were together. I completely believed that, until I heard her words with my own ears. Just playing around, no need to bring him out. I was completely panicked, eyes stinging, about to cry, so I hurriedly made an excuse to go to the restroom to stand up and leave. The moment the door closed, I couldn't suppress my emotions at all. Tears fell like broken strings of pearls. Luckily, the bar was noisy enough that no one could hear the sobbing. I couldn't hold back. Just then, the phone message notification rang. It was a message from Shen Yu-chu. "They'll wait for you outside." Since I happily arrived here, only 10 minutes had passed. I felt like I was dragged into bone-chilling seawater, my whole body cold, hands trembling ceaselessly. In such a short time, I still couldn't digest all of this. How could I accept that the person I thought was madly in love with me was never serious about me? She was with me only out of pity. The person in her heart was actually always someone else. My heart felt like it was being pricked by thousands of needles. It took me a long time to calm down, finally grabbing a piece of paper, drying my tears, and walking out. Shen Yu-chu was waiting for me nearby. I looked at her, tears almost uncontrollable again. We hadn't seen each other for a month. Some time ago, she went on a business trip abroad and only returned today. We had an appointment to meet tomorrow. It's just that I couldn't wait, wanting to see her sooner, so I came here. She slowly approached me, staring into my red eyes, and after a long while said one sentence, "I'm sorry." I realize the words "I'm sorry" are truly magical. They are the words a guy wants to hear most when his girlfriend makes a small mistake. A gentle sentence can resolve conflicts, but they are also the most meaningless words when there's a fundamental issue in the relationship, because it can bypass even the explanation and directly declare that this love has reached a dead end. Shen Yuchu, regarding what you just said, don't you have anything you want to explain? Her eyes avoided mine, not answering directly. Why are you so sensitive? Friends chatting with each other, why do you have to take it seriously? Besides, I think I'm doing pretty well as a girlfriend. Is it really because I'm too sensitive? Maybe so, but sensitive people always have to endure double the sadness. Tears once again could not be held back, rolling down my cheeks. She reached out to wipe them for me, but I tilted my head to dodge. After taking a deep breath, I continued speaking to her. If you like Liu Kun, why did you come to tease me? Upon hearing the name Liu Kun, her face suddenly became gloomy, subconsciously speaking in a cold voice. Didn't you know long ago that I like him? What are you pretending for now? The heater was on in the room, my breathing was chaotic, a bit suffocating, my chest hurt as if being squeezed, my head was also dizzy from the heat. This was in the conversation between me and her, the first time his name was mentioned. She withdrew her usual warmth and gentleness. The estrangement made me a bit suffocated. As expected, Liu Kun is her sore spot. I thought I should open my mouth to scold her, but my throat choked up, unable to make a sound. Her phone rang at an inopportune moment. The screen showed a phone number from abroad with no contact name, but my sixth sense told me it was a call from Liu Kun. Shen Yuchu's eyes immediately lit up, quickly brushing past me to answer the phone. Within less than 10 seconds of ringing, seemingly afraid of making him wait long. Mixed with the noisy music, I heard her gentle call drifting away. Ah, Kun. Seems my sixth sense is very accurate. It's just that my sixth sense never reminded me that Shen Yuchu doesn't love me. When I dazedly returned to the private room, Chen Yan and everyone were talking about Shen Yuchu. Usually she lets everyone tease her without blushing. Why did she get so angry today? Could it really be because of Liu Kun? Chen Yan took a sip of wine and spoke slowly. What else could it be? For so many years, every time she gets drunk, she calls Liu Kun's name. When he just went abroad, she secretly ran over there to visit. Just that afterwards, I don't know what happened. After returning, she completely collapsed. No matter how I asked, she wouldn't say. Until later when she got a lover, I saw she gradually cared about that boyfriend and thought she had gotten over the heartbreak. The result, as you guys have seen, when hearing news Liu Kun is returning, that dazed look. I called several times before she heard. I've never seen Shen Yuchu drunk, nor ever heard her call another person's name, let alone knowing she went abroad to find him. They continued talking about the love letter she never sent during his coming-of-age ceremony, about her buying all of his debut records. Turns out there are so many things I didn't know. I blankly listened to them praising her love, for how silent it was, praising how admirable her love was. I tried to keep my expression steady, but my fingernails dug deep into my palms. Conversely, the person who usually plays the hardest with the worst reputation, Miss Kiao, spoke gently. But that little boyfriend of hers is pitiful, wasting 2 years in vain. I pretended to rub my eyes, wiping away the tear welling up in the corner. After sighing to them, Chen Yan turned to look at me, putting away her frivolous expression, and spoke seriously to me. So Chen Zi, in the future, definitely don't trust women. Shen Yuchu is such a good person, even I almost believed it. She coaxed me into the beautiful illusion she wove, finally gently using a sentence of apology to smash it to pieces. I nodded gently, speaking in a voice almost inaudible, "Won't believe anymore." After Shen Yuchu left, she didn't come back. Chen Yan was afraid something happened to her, so she called her. After hanging up, she immediately cursed. This girl, getting a call that Liu Kun is coming back, happily ran off to prepare a welcome party for him. You guys say, in the middle of the night like this, is she crazy? Everyone burst out laughing, but only I couldn't laugh. Maybe because I was there, it wasn't convenient for everyone to talk, so the party ended hastily. Chen Yan drank a bit too much. I had to use a lot of effort to stuff her into the passenger seat of the convertible. Tonight she also talked a lot, mumbling to me about childhood stories. When you were small, you were just a tiny bit tall. How are you so big now, able to drive to pick me up? Because I just got my license not long ago and wasn't very skilled yet, my hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, focusing on driving. Seeing I wasn't paying attention to her, she continued muttering, "Why aren't you saying anything? Since childhood you've been a sullen, quiet one, clearly same age and living environment as Liu Kun, but your personalities are worlds apart." Hearing this name, my fingers subconsciously tightened. Chen Zi, you are my younger brother. You can be willful, you can act spoiled, you can have no scruples at all. In the corner of my eye, Chen Yan turned her head away after saying this, appearing to have fallen asleep. And my memories uncontrollably flew back to childhood. Since childhood, I was like now, not knowing how to be willful, let alone act spoiled, keeping a tight rein on myself. Actually, before, my relationship with her wasn't as good as it is now, but I can't blame her, who asked for me to not be liked since I was small, especially when beside them there was someone always smiling like Liu Kun, a lovely younger brother, making me fade into the background. Everyone always favored him more. Chen Yan and Shen Yuchu were both like that. They would take Liu Kun to play video games, take him to catch fireflies, take him to climb trees to pick fruit, but never asked if I wanted to try. Even the way of addressing was different. He was the intimate Ah Kun, while I was Chen Zi, full name. And Liu Kun would also act spoiled to get the sisters to play along. He was the prince. The sisters were the princesses beside the prince. So what was I? They said there is only one prince, but you can play the prince's guard. I was forever the unnoticeable supporting character, but Shin Yuchu noticed me when I was 10 years old. Liu Kun was obsessed with idle drama plots, insisting on dragging the sisters to write wishes, to dig up many years later. I helped Liu Kun buy paper, hand over pens, dig holes, while I stood behind them, just bowing my head in silence. Actually, I also really wanted to write a wish, but no one would ask me. They were all pinching Liu Kun's cheeks, mocking him as childish, but the shovels in their hands didn't stop filling the dirt. Even Sister Chen Yan assumed that. I stood so far away because I wasn't interested, but I was just afraid that standing too close, still no one noticing me, would only make me sadder. But Shen Yuchu noticed. She squatted on the ground, raised her head slightly, and saw my red eyes. Seeming to realize my awkwardness, she suddenly called me, "Chen Zi, do you want to come over and write one? You probably like these things too, right? I can dig one for you too." Liu Kun was born with the ability to be loved by others. He calmly enjoyed the goodness everyone gave him, but I was different. The probing look when Shen Yuchu extended the olive branch to me, I think I will always remember. In the long years of youth, the kindness and care occasionally accumulated, finally turning into the love that couldn't be put into words of a young man. She wasn't wrong. I knew she used to like Liu Kun. The cello solo she liked to listen to was the piece from his concert when he was 18. The specialty dish she practiced for a long time was Liu Kun's favorite dish. In that distant memory, her eyes always followed him, while I silently watched them from behind. But she was too good. Whether it was her in childhood showing kindness to me, or her later, full of spirit, all were too beautiful. I couldn't help but like her. After Liu Kun went abroad, her mood became very bad, so, to comfort her, Chen Yan often brought her to our house to eat and play games. I used the excuse of bringing fruit, getting things, or asking about math homework, frequently entering Sister Chen Yan's room, bothering her. Thanks to that, contact with her also increased. In that process, I gradually became greedy, praying that perhaps one day she would develop feelings for me over time. Sincerity moved the heavens. The way she looked at me gradually became gentle. Until 2 years ago, she blushed, gently asking me, "Chenzi, do we want to give it a try?" Suddenly in memory, her gentle expression overlapped with the cold face just now. "Didn't you know long ago I like him? What are you pretending for now?" Vision blurred. I used the back of my hand to wipe my glasses hard, but when I could see clearly, it was too late, crashing hard into the rear of the car ahead. Chen Yan recently always bossed me around, peel grapes for me, brew another cup of da hong pao. I obediently did it all, feeling extremely guilty towards her. Because the car accident happened, I was only slightly scratched, while she suffered a fractured forearm, grinning and bearing the pain, looking at me reproachfully and said, "Road demon, you are Shinyuka's disciple." Shenyuchu was once in a car accident that was not long after Liu Kun went abroad. Because she was distracted and out of it, she crashed into a big tree by the road, staying in the hospital for 2 months to recover. Recalling the words Chen Yan said yesterday, I pretended to ask unintentionally, why did she have a car accident that year? Chen Yan waved her hand, but what she raised was her stiff plastered arm, looking really a bit funny. Don't mention it, wasn't it because of Liu that she secretly ran abroad to visit him? But after returning she was like a lost soul. Look at her worthless state, haven't seen her shadow lately. Don't know what she's busy with, knowing I had a car accident and not even coming to visit. Turns out Xin Yuchu knew, but didn't even send a single message to ask. Since that night, my chat history with Shen Yuchu stopped at the sentence, "I'll wait for you outside." Seems that I am not even worth a word of concern from her. Seeing me lower my face in silence, my sister boredly looked at the bouquet of hydrangeas on the tea table. "Don't you cherish these flowers the most? Why haven't you put them in a vase yet?" Although Shen Yuchu didn't look for me, flowers were still delivered to the house on time every week. I stood up and threw all the flowers into the trash can. Chen Yan didn't quite understand why throw away flowers that are blooming beautifully. Actually, these flowers aren't the type I like just because they were given by Shen Yuchu. I was willing to trim and water them, taking care of them carefully. But losing their roots, the plucked flowers, no matter how well cared for, will quickly wither. I smiled and said to her, "If they are destined to wither, no matter how much you like them, you can't keep them. Throwing them away sooner or later makes no difference." Chen Yan is indeed my biological sister. She realized my mood lately wasn't good, so she said she wanted to take me out. Only upon arriving did I know it was Liu Kun's welcome party. We grew up together since childhood. He was handsome, dashing, with a majestic spirit, always everyone's darling. Isn't this Chen Yan? Even with a caste you want to join? The Liu family is indeed a top wealthy family. This party was organized extremely grandly. Everywhere. Fresh lily of the valley flowers transported by air from abroad. Just looking at it, you know it cost a lot of money. As soon as she arrived, Chen Yan was dragged away by friends to play cards. As for me, I sat alone in a corner, eyes involuntarily searching for Xin Yuchu's silhouette. A white silhouette appeared in my line of sight. It was Liu Kun. Not seen for 3 years, he's become a bit more handsome, shedding the naive and childish look of the past. He is now dashing and composed. Every gesture of his befits a wealthy young master. He saw me and greeted me excitedly. Chen Zi, long time no see. My feelings were a bit complicated. To be honest, I didn't hate Liu Kun at all. Growing up among our close-knit families, there were only the two of us boys. We were the youngest, and he treated me quite well, but he was just too good at winning people over. All the adults praised him for being smart and adorable. The older sisters preferred taking him out to play. It made me feel like a dirty, ugly duckling, not to mention that Shen Yuchu liked him. I couldn't quite describe my mood, but overall, it wasn't great. The thorn buried deep in my heart seemed to be throbbing with dull pain again. After chatting for a bit, perhaps because it had been too long, or maybe because I didn't know how to make conversation, an awkward silence fell between us. I looked around, trying to find a topic to talk about. The lilies of the valley were beautiful. He casually picked a sprig and blurted out, "Sister Yuchu brought these back from Finland. I don't know where she heard that I like lilies of the valley. They are very rare in the country, but unexpectedly she managed to find so many. Actually, this is also my favorite flower. The blooming period is short, and the stems are fragile, precious, and delicate. During transportation, more than half get damaged, but Shen Yuchu was able to bring back so many. She must have put a lot of effort into it. She has never given me lilies of the valley. I'm also to blame for this, as I never proactively voiced my preferences. I suddenly remembered once running to her company to find her, and her assistant smiled and asked, "Director Shen asks what flowers you like." Back then, immersed in the illusion of happiness, I didn't catch the hidden meaning. I said, "As long as she gives it, I like it all." Thinking back now, the flowers were probably chosen by the assistant. Most of them were blue, and that assistant loved wearing blue office wear the most. They still haven't stopped sending them, probably because she forgot to tell the assistant. It was only much later that I realized. It turns out she wasn't willing to spare even this little bit of thought for me, yet she was willing to proactively ask about his preferences, spending so much effort just to please him. Every time I texted her saying the flowers were beautiful and that I liked them, she would say, "Whatever you like, I will offer it to you with both hands." Actually, she didn't even know what color the flowers were. Humans will lie, but details do not. Love is in the details, and so is the lack of it. Shen Yuchu arrived late, wearing a slightly wrinkled dress. She had always been a neat freak, but for some reason, there was mud on the soles of her shoes, looking completely out of place here. After glancing around, her gaze finally rested on Liu Kun, without seeing me. It wasn't until she was just 5 meters away from us that she finally noticed me, her steps faltering. "Sister Yuchu, you're here?" Shan Yuchu was indeed the person whom the strict old master of the Liu family praised endlessly as a junior with a boundless future. Having navigated the business world for a long time, she controlled her emotions well. She immediately hid her awkwardness, smiling as she came over to greet us. Only then did I notice the gift box in her hand. She avoided my gaze, handing the gift box to Liu Kun. Finding this took quite a bit of time, so I arrived late. Liu Kun had been abroad for years, so he opened the gift as soon as he got it, exclaiming in surprise, "It's the wishing bottle we buried when we were kids. Back then, I even said I wanted to become the happiest prince in the world. How childish." Meanwhile, Shen Yuchu's gaze lingered affectionately on his face, filled with doting adoration. He was basically a prince, receiving love from everyone, and Shen Yuchu was no exception. Not only did she spend so much effort preparing fresh flowers, but she also personally dug up the wishing bottle, buried more than 10 years ago. Yet, she forgot that today was our 2-year anniversary. To be exact, we hadn't broken up yet. Liu Kun smiled happily. "This is my favorite gift, among all the ones you've given me." Hearing this, Shen Yuchu shot me a wary glance. That look pierced me, freezing the blood in my veins. I knew the answer but still asked, "Does Sister Yuchu give you gifts often?" "Yeah, although we didn't meet during my 3 years abroad, I received gifts from her, almost every month. Last month was a camera, the month before was a cello. Turns out I wasn't the only one receiving gifts. It's just that Liu Kun's gifts were based on his interests, while mine last month was a bracelet, even though I don't like wearing bracelets. The month before that was a violin, but I have absolutely no musical talent. Perhaps it was just convenient, just an afterthought. Looking at everything before me, I didn't know where I got the courage. I spoke up in a half-mocking tone. "Sister Yuchu treats her younger brother so well. Does your boyfriend know?" Shen Yuchu's expression turned a bit ugly. At that moment, Liu Kun was attracted by a graceful silhouette in the distance. "My youngest aunt is back. You'll go over there first." After he left, Shen Yuchu dragged me to the deserted backyard. It was winter, and I was wearing a thin sweater, shivering from the cold. If it were before, she would have immediately taken off her coat, draped it over my shoulders, and gently hugged me. But she didn't do that. She frowned, her mind entirely focused on my provocation just now. Chenzi, what on earth are you making a fuss about? The cold wind made my eyes sting slightly. I closed my eyes, suppressing the bitterness, and asked softly, do you remember what day it is today? She froze, clearly not remembering. I continued, it's our 2-year anniversary. Shen Yuchu, you promised me before that on our 2-year anniversary we would make our relationship public to everyone. She looked at me with a complicated expression, pursed her lips, and apologized. I've been busy lately preparing the welcome party for Liu Kun. Nobles truly have short memories, but she only forgets things that aren't important to her. Welcoming him back to the country is more important than our anniversary. How ridiculous. So busy to the point of having no time to properly tell me that we're breaking up. If she had seriously apologized to me and we had broken up calmly, I really planned to just let it go. If I told my sister, she would surely rush up and beat her. But out of respect for our childhood friendship, I didn't want to be too heartless. Perhaps feeling that my rhetorical question was pressing, her face looked unpleasant, and she frowned, saying, you used to be the most obedient and well-behaved one. Why are you talking so harshly now? I didn't say I wanted to break up. My chest suddenly ached. Again with that damn obedient and well-behaved. Is that why you chose me as comfort when you were lonely? My voice trembled in the wind. Then this boyfriend who can't be public, who is just for play, will say the breakup for you. She breathed a sigh of relief, seemingly wanting to say something, but she never spoke. But I knew it certainly wasn't to hold me back. Maybe she was secretly rejoicing, glad that she didn't have to be the bad guy. I suppressed the pain and continued. Also, what right do you have to pity me? It makes me feel like I'm ridiculous. No need to send flowers anymore. I actually really hate the flowers you sent. A trace of confusion flashed in her eyes, but she quickly turned her head away. Sure enough, those weren't flowers she gave herself. The cold wind shattered my thoughts. Time seemed to freeze in this moment. I stared blankly at the woman in front of me, speechless. A phone rang at an inopportune time. Just looking at Shen Yuchu's expression, I knew who was calling. She immediately threw the flower matter to the back of her mind. Her brow relaxed, and even her tone softened significantly. What is it? Chen Yan and the others are looking for me. I'll be right there. Hanging up, her mood improved considerably. She cleared her throat and said, Chenzi, let's talk about us later. She hurriedly left. Looking at the overturned earth in the garden, I felt a bit emotional. 12 years ago, she personally buried a wishing bottle here for me, and just now, she personally dug it up for Liu Kun. Clearly someone who has to change her bed sheets every day didn't mind getting muddy and stained with dirt. So what about the wishing bottle I buried on the side? Does she still remember? Turns out I'm a fool. Her indulgence and tenderness made me cleverly think that my secret love had come true. Turns out a dim supporting role won't shine, nor can he make her like him. She was just enjoying my humble, worshipping gaze when she was suffering from heartbreak. Or perhaps it was soft-hearted pity for me. Either way, it couldn't be called liking me. I slowly crouched down, crying silently. Inside the brightly lit villa, the lights in the garden suddenly went dark. No one heard my crying in the cold wind, just like when we were kids and they never saw me running behind. I don't know how long I cried, crying until my voice was a bit hoarse, until I suddenly heard Liu Kun's voice echoing from afar. Youngest aunt, I'm about to lose all my pocket money. Come help me quickly. I looked in the direction of the sound and saw a slender woman on the second-floor balcony. That position offered a panoramic view of everything happening in the garden. Backlit, I couldn't see her expression clearly. I didn't know how long she had been standing there, or if she heard our conversation. Youngest aunt, what are you doing standing here? Liu Kun opened the balcony door and called her. I hurriedly wiped my tears, intending to hide. The woman's voice drifted over. Don't come out. It's cold outside. It'll be right there. She turned around, casually pushing Liu Kun, who was sticking his head out, back inside. Chen Yan called just then. Where are you? Eat something and come up to greet youngest aunt. The card room was crowded with people. The woman sat at the mahjong table wearing a dark evening gown, elegant and sophisticated. She waved her hand, and those gathered at the door to flatter her were quickly shooed away. Chen Yan sat opposite her, dragging me over to greet her. I said softly, Hello, youngest aunt. Liu Ruyan looked up, assessing me with a slightly scrutinizing gaze, and didn't reply. She probably didn't remember a small figure like me. I had always been somewhat afraid of her, so I shrank back behind Chen Yan. Fortunately, she didn't mention seeing me in the backyard just now. She probably didn't hear the conversation between Shen Yuchu and me, which made me feel slightly relieved. Chen Yan played cards terribly and didn't have many chips left. Liu Ruyan had also just started, and Liu Kun had already lost everything. In contrast, chips were piled up like a mountain in front of Shen Yuchu. Chen Yan got frustrated playing and used a hand injury as an excuse, shoving me into the seat. I can't do this, little Z. You play for me. I was dragged to sit opposite Liu Ruyan, looking straight at her. Her eyes were incredibly beautiful, deep and cold, with jet-black pupils, bottomless. I played a 5 won. Shen Yuchu also followed with a 5 won. Liu Ruyan was winning on 4 and 6 won, waiting exactly for the 5 won. Shen Yuchu said awkwardly, "Youngest aunt, you didn't win on the previous 5 won, but now you win on mine." Liu Ruyan's thin lips curled into a smile, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. "My apologies." Shen Yuchu pushed her tiles forward to show everyone. "I intentionally broke my set to follow, precisely because I was afraid of dealing into your hand." Liu Ruyan spoke indifferently, saying she had discarded good tiles, so she couldn't help but rethink. She didn't look at the tiles, nor did she look at Shen Yuchu's gaze directed at me. My head buzzed, and I immediately looked away. My sixth sense told me Liu Ruyan had seen the subsequent tiles. It made me uneasy as I played. A few rounds passed, and almost all the betting chips were back in front of Liu Ruyan. Liu Kun was happy, shouting to end the game, inviting everyone for late-night snacks, but no one dared to move, because Liu Ruyan was there. The people sitting there didn't dare to joke around as usual. Everyone was quiet and obedient. In terms of hierarchy, she is Liu Kun's youngest aunt, the successor personally appointed by the old master of the Liu family. She has been surrounded by people since childhood, like stars surrounding the moon. When 10-year-old Chen Yan took 5-year-old me to play in the mud, Liu Ruyan was already sitting by the window reading financial newspapers. She was 13 then, clearly not much older than us, but she carried the future and hope of the clan, always looking mature and composed. This made all the children afraid of her, respectfully calling her youngest aunt. Unless she said stop, no one dared to stand up. I stretched. The previous car accident had injured my back, so sitting for a long time made it a bit sore. Liu Ruyan quietly glanced at me and said inwardly, "Let's end it here, Shen Yuchu." Liu Kun immediately turned over his tiles, replying attentively, "Liu Kun is hungry, right? What do you want to eat?" Chen Yan chimed in teasingly, so concerned about Liu Kun. "Why not ask what we want to eat?" Liu Kun's face blushed, and he looked at Shen Yuchu. She smiled meaningfully. This was treatment I had never received. How careful she was. We dated for 2 years, but in front of elders, in front of my sister, she didn't dare give me even a single glance, let alone openly, showing affection like this. I couldn't suppress the bitterness, so I lowered my head and stared at the mahjong table, afraid to let others see my unsightly expression. Suddenly, a hand with distinct knuckles appeared before my eyes. Liu Ruyan pushed the betting chips in front of me. I looked up at her in surprise. I only heard her voice, "Chenzi, treat this pocket money as a meeting gift. Long time no see." When I greeted her earlier, Chenzi acted like he didn't see me, but now she actively greeted me at the end, and even intentionally lost to me an estimated 7 figures worth of chips. Everyone present was shrewd, and countless eyes darted between the two of us. My cheeks burned, yet Liu Ruyan smiled as if nothing had happened. Looking at me, it was Liu Kun who broke the silence. He pretended to be angry. "Youngest aunt, weren't you supposed to win for me? I asked you to buy me a car, and you ignored me. Why are you so generous to Chenzi?" Liu Ruyan leaned back in her chair, her eyes gentle, and she said offhandedly, "Just go pick one, put it on my tab." He cheered, laughed, and shook Shen Yuchu's hand, asking her to go look at cars with him tomorrow. But Shen Yuchu didn't move her hand, letting it hang by her side. She stared at me, her eyes welling with strange, inexplicable emotions. This was the first time she lost her usual composure in front of others. "Youngest aunt and Chenzi seem quite close, don't they?" "What are you saying? Youngest aunt still sees him as a child." Chen Yan spoke up to bail me out. "Actually, Liu Ruyan and I weren't close, from childhood to adulthood, apart from the usual interactions between our two families, and matters related to Liu Kun. We had no other communication." I said dryly, Thank you, youngest aunt." Liu Ruyan didn't mind. She took off her pink coat, draped it casually over her arm, stood up, and walked out. Everyone immediately followed. In the crowd, Shen Yuchu suddenly grabbed my wrist and in a very low voice, questioned, "Why were you blushing at Liu Ruyan?" I shook off her hand and said coldly, "What does it have to do with you? We've already broken up. What right do you have to question me?" She frowned. "Can't an older sister show concern?" "I'm warning you, Liu Ruyan isn't someone you can mess with." Dating for 2 years, holding hands, hugging, kissing, besides sleeping together, we did everything. Now back to the role of a sister. My biological sister, Chen Yan, is right in front. Do I need her concern? I took a deep breath, trying to control my voice. My own sister hasn't said anything. Who the hell are you to play the sister? Shen Yuchu froze, but her expression quickly returned to normal, and I stepped away from her a bit. Also, I hope you don't mention our relationship to anyone. So, dragging me back was for this. Afraid that if I got too close to Liu Ruyan, I would tell her about this secret romance affecting her pursuit of someone else's nephew. I looked at her slightly avoiding eyes. After all these years, for the first time, I felt it wasn't worth it. Relief gradually replaced sadness. Glad I only wasted 2 years on her. Don't worry, I won't tell. After all, I really am a coward. We are in the same circle. Our parents are close. We see each other all the time. You meet my sister too, and she considers you her closest friend, telling her would inevitably hurt the harmony between our families. But before I could finish, her eyes burned with intensity and she interrupted, "I knew you really liked me. If Liu Kun hadn't returned, I truly considered being with you seriously. But he's back. Chenzi, I was with you in the beginning because of the affection you had for me, just like how I love Liu Kun the way you love me. You can understand me, right? Her eyes shone bright, as if waiting for my affirmative answer. But I couldn't understand. When you love someone, how can you be distracted to love another? Looking at her face, I suddenly didn't want to say even a single word of reproach. Whatever you say, from now on we go our separate ways and have nothing to do with each other. I left her there, running after Chen Yan. Liu Kun said he ate Western food for 3 years, so he insisted on Sichuan food for dinner. Chen Yan was recently injured and had to diet, so we went home first. On the way, she suddenly asked me, "Are you close with youngest aunt?" The way she looked at you was a bit strange. I froze, remembering her gentle silhouette on the balcony again. Seeing the scene in the garden, like a childish romance game, she probably found it a bit amusing. I shook my head. It's not like you don't know what I told her. Not nearly as much as what you said to her. That's true too. Just stay away from her a bit. Why is everyone so afraid of Liu Ruyan? I was about to ask Chen Yan, but seeing her serious expression, I decided not to say anything in the end. When I got home, I logged into my social media account, scrolling through from beginning to end. This was a side account I made after getting with Shen Yuchu, used to record a love diary. When I wrote those words, I thought I was the happiest person in the world. But looking back now, it just feels ironic. Today I ran over to my sister's room to ask about homework. Actually, I knew how to do it all, but I just wanted to see her for a bit. She was so gentle. She even tucked my hair behind my ear. I didn't absorb a single word of the lesson. She asked if I wanted to give it a try. Of course I did. I originally thought I'd be secretly in love forever. I never expected there'd be a day when the clouds would part and I'd see the sun. Called her at night. It was a bit noisy on the other end. I even heard my sister's voice. "Girls' night out and you're taking a call from some man?" She laughingly cursed, "Get lost," then very gently wished me goodnight. Oh my god. She gave me a lot of flowers. Although they weren't the lilies of the valley I like, I will still take good care of them. As long as she gave them, I like them all. She said we'd go public on our 2-year anniversary. I originally planned to make an anniversary video. Looking back through everything, we didn't have a single photo together. She said she doesn't like taking photos. Thinking about it now, she was probably afraid of leaving evidence of our relationship. After watching, I deleted the account immediately. A bowl of undercooked rice. I chewed and chewed. In the end, I still had to spit it out. The car that got hit last time still hasn't been taken for repairs. Although it doesn't affect driving, there are quite a few scratches. I picked a nice day and prepared to take it to the forest shop. Just stepped out the door and met the Liu family servants, loading withered lilies of the valley onto a truck. The truck blocked the way, so I had to obediently stand by and wait. In just a few short days, they had withered, no longer fresh and succulent. I felt a bit of regret. "If it got ruined because you spaced out, just throw it away. What's there to pity?" A voice came from behind. I turned around and saw Liu Ruyan. Today she was wearing a gray coat over a solid beige cashmere sweater, looking very different from usual. Even her long hair was casually draped over her forehead. Along with this outfit, she didn't look like a 30-year-old woman at all. I started stammering a greeting again. "Hello, youngest aunt?" Liu Ruyan's gaze lingered on me for a moment and asked, "Where are you going?" "To the forest shop to fix my car." She lowered her eyes and thought for a moment, then bluntly opened the passenger door and got in. "Give me a ride. It's on the way." I hadn't even said which forest shop yet, but thinking of her generous pocket money, I suppressed my questions. That money is more than enough for me to be a driver. For her, for one trip. "Where do you want to go, youngest aunt?" Liu Ruyan's voice was low. "To pick out a car." She answered very casually, as if it were a spur-of-the-moment plan. I didn't dare ask much, gripping the steering wheel tightly with both hands, afraid of having another accident like last time. After all, the person in the passenger seat this time wasn't Chen Yan. If I accidentally injured the future heir of the Liu family, my whole family would have to go to their door to apologize. Arriving safely at the forest shop, I breathed a sigh of relief. Liu Ruyan followed behind me, seeming to want to go with me. The person in charge of the forest shop saw her and hurriedly ran over to greet her. "Hello, General Director Liu. Your nephew, young Master Liu, has already arrived. He's inside." Following the manager's gesture, I saw Liu Kun test driving a car through the glass window. Standing beside him was Shen Yuchu. She was smiling brightly, reaching through the lowered car window to help him fasten his seatbelt. "It's just a test drive. Is that really necessary?" I couldn't watch anymore, tossed the keys to the manager, and said to Liu Ruyan, "Youngest aunt, you go in. I'll take my leave first." Liu Ruyan stepped to the side, blocking my way. "Let's go in and look together." Without waiting for me to refuse, she brushed past me and strode inside. I had no choice but to follow her steps. Liu Kun's voice drifted over. "I don't really like this interior. You can customize the seats, the roof, and the wheels to whatever you like." Shen Yuchu patiently introduced the features to him, even more attentive than the salesperson standing nearby. "Youngest aunt, why are you here?" Liu Kun poked his head out of the car. After greeting Liu Ruyan, his suspicious gaze shifted to me. "Chen Zi, why are you here too?" I smiled. "Just happened to run into youngest aunt, thought I'd take a look." I was standing very close to Liu Ruyan, just a slight tilt of my head and I could touch her shoulder. I secretly inched to the side, keeping my distance from her. Shen Yuchu's gaze fell on me, her face darkening. Maybe she felt Liu Ruyan and I were too close, afraid I'd say things I shouldn't. Youngest aunt, when I asked you to come with me, you said it was annoying, so why are you here now? Liu Ruyan didn't answer. Walked a circle around the car and asked, have you chosen yet? Yeah, I'm still a bit undecided. How about you buy them all for me? He blinked his eyes looking up at Liu Ruyan. Liu Kun was born knowing how to act cute. As a child, he relied on it to get adults to agree to everything, taking all the candy from other kids. Now his skills haven't diminished. But unexpectedly, Liu Ruyan didn't buy it. Just one. Consider it your graduation gift. For the others, go ask your father. He deflated, finally choosing the one he was test driving. While Liu Ruyan went aside to sign the papers, he complained to Shen Yuchu, no wonder my youngest aunt doesn't have a boyfriend. She's always so rigid. You guys don't know, I had a blonde, blue-eyed upperclassman with a perfect body who liked her. Foreigners are enthusiastic and open. At night, he secretly crawled under her covers. Result was my youngest aunt grabbed him by the scruff and threw him out. Her face was red with anger, blaming me for carelessly bringing people home. The very next day, she threw me into the school dormitory. He shook his head, looking disappointed in her wasted potential. But I really couldn't imagine Liu Ruyan's face when she's angry. She probably had 10,000 curse words in her head, but due to her upbringing, couldn't say them out loud, her face turning red from holding it in. Thinking of this, I couldn't help it and laughed out loud. This time Shen Yuchu looked at me with an even stranger expression. A gloomy voice came from behind. What are you laughing at? My heart skipped a beat. I stiffly turned my head. Liu Kun quickly said, nothing. I told a lame joke, and Chenzi found it funny. Liu Ruyan clearly didn't believe it, but didn't pursue it further, calling Liu Kun over to sign. Shen Yuchu came close to me and whispered, Chenzi, this affection of yours is getting a bit too heavy. Why follow us here so miserably? I also don't want to be seen by you, making you heartbroken. Have you misunderstood something? Isn't that the case? I thought we made things clear. Why did you appear in front of us today? And with Liu Ruyan too. This time I was really speechless, annoyed. I said, is there any possibility it's not because of you, but because of Liu Ruyan? I couldn't stand listening anymore, so I just blurted it out. But Shen Yuchu got anxious. What do you mean by that? I know you've liked me for many years. I also gave you 2 years of endless affection. Now you're saying these angry words. Do you think you'll believe them? Forget it. Saying more is just a waste of breath. That day, the 4 of us went back together. Shen Yuchu drove, Liu Kun sat in the passenger seat, while Liu Ruyan and I sat next to each other. She looked a bit tired, leaning back casually, eyes closed tight. Only then did I dare to sneak a peek at her. She was beautiful, with defined features, firm skin, her brow bone and nose bridge were exquisite. Her thick eyelashes fluttered, scaring me into quickly looking away. But then I caught the gaze of Shen Yuchu in the rearview mirror. She frowned, looking at me with a dark, unclear expression. I was a bit puzzled. I wasn't looking at her. What was she so tense about? Liu Kun was chatting away next to her, starting to talk about our school days again. Back then, Chenzi did me a huge favor. If he hadn't gone to find youngest aunt for me, my mom would have scolded me to death. In high school, he and I were classmates. Liu Kun was very mischievous, his grades were always at the bottom, and parents were constantly called in. The most serious time, he started dating an upperclassman early, got caught by the homeroom teacher, who said no matter what, parents had to be called in today. While holding back the teacher, who was about to call his mother, crying like rain, promising not to do it again, he secretly winked at me, waiting outside the door, mouthing the words, sneaking glances, standing outside the door, telling me to find youngest aunt. I ran to his house as fast as I could. When I met Liu Ruyan, it was Liu Ruyan who poured me a glass of water. After resting for a long while, I finally explained the whole situation to her. Finally, she rushed to the school to bring Liu Kun home. When he got back, his eyes were swollen from crying, looked like he got a severe scolding. But now Liu Kun can still laugh and talk about this embarrassing incident, so it seems he doesn't mind much. I'm very jealous of him. Jealous that he's loved by everyone, and even more jealous of his open, optimistic personality. If it were me, I probably wouldn't want to mention it for the rest of my life. I smiled and said, back then I always hitched rides with your family. Helping out a little was the least I could do, he said with emotion. We went to school and came back together. When my driver came to pick us up, we didn't rush home but ate street snacks, bought idle merch, dragging it out until 7 or 8 o'clock. Sometimes youngest aunt came to pick us up and we'd both sit straight as arrows, not daring to say an extra word. Those days were really fun. But why did you suddenly drop out in 12th grade? Until I went abroad, I didn't see you even once. My smile froze on my face. The damp ground, the end of the dark alley. This is the past I least want to mention. Shen Yuchu also looked at me as if waiting for my answer. She never asked, and I never told. I moved my lips, my chin trembling uncontrollably, unable to speak a word. My mind went blank. I couldn't even think of a topic to change the subject. Liu Kun. Liu Ruyan opened her eyes, gently kicked the passenger seat. Liu Kun turned back to look at her confusedly. So that's it. I'm resting, don't make noise. He awkwardly turned back around. The car instantly became quiet. That night, I received a text from Shen Yuchu, today in the car, when Liu Kun asked you, your face was very pale. Are you okay? I didn't reply. Half an hour later, she messaged again. Can you tell me what happened back then? I'm a bit worried. I blocked her and buried my head in the soft blanket. Chen Yan happened to knock on the door. She entered the room and placed a glass of warm milk on my bedside table. Heard Mom and Dad say, you plan to move out after Tet. After the new year, I'll be in the second semester of junior year. I found an internship quite far from home. Commuting isn't very convenient. I nodded. Chen Yan's expression became serious. She hesitated, wanting to speak but stopping, finally turning into a sigh. Fine, you're a grown-up now. You'll arrange the internship company first, pick a place with good security for you. You'll have to be careful on your own then. I know, you're so naggy. She ruffled my hair, calling me heartless, but her eyes were full of deep worry. The milk couldn't help me sleep well. I had nightmares all night, soaking my pillow with tears. The year ended and Ted arrived. On New Year's Eve, I was curled up on the sofa, watching the boring Spring Festival gala, when Chen Yan pulled me up, saying she wanted to take me to set off fireworks. Fireworks were strictly banned in the villa area, but on such a joyous day, management wasn't too strict. Last year, I also watched a spectacular fireworks display. We walked to the artificial lake in the complex. A large group had already arrived. Akun, you're this big already? Why do you still boss your sisters around like when you were small? Liu Kun grinned, his eyes sparkling in the moonlight. Setting off fireworks with me? Isn't it better than watching the gala, Spring Festival gala? He rubbed his hands, looking a bit cold. Shen Yuchu smiled and took off her scarf and was just about to wrap it around his neck when she caught a glimpse of Chen Yan and me out of the corner of her eye, and her hands froze. This scene was so familiar. This time last year, Shen Yuchu texted me, telling me to sneak out to the lakeside. She put a scarf and gloves on me, and we watched the elaborately prepared fireworks together. She said, "May the years pass, staying just like today." What a phrase, staying just like today. The wind blowing on my face hurt a little. I tried to shrink into my sweater collar. I squatted on the ground, watching them play noisily. Brilliant light bloomed in the night sky. Liu Kun took out a camera and handed it to me. "Chen Zi, come help me, and Yuchu take a picture." His way of addressing her had also become more intimate. Shen Yuchu stood beside him, looking a bit dazed, but ultimately didn't refuse. She gently put her arm around Liu Kun's shoulder, forcing an unnatural smile. I raised the camera, but Shen Yuchu wasn't looking at the lens. She seemed to be looking at me. How strange. With a click, the moment was captured. Behind them, fireworks filled the sky, and both people in the lens were smiling. In the past 2 years, Shen Yuchu didn't leave a single photo with me, yet I personally took a photo of her with someone else. The corner of the photo also captured the profile of Liu Ruyan's face. Only then did I realize she was there too. Just standing a bit far away, like an adult watching children play, as an outsider, not getting involved. Liu Kun was very satisfied with the photo. After taking a few more shots, he called everyone for a group photo. Chen Yan wanted to take the camera so I could join it, but looking at her cast-bound hand, I shook my head and refused. Anyway, I don't really like taking photos, and I especially didn't want to share a frame with Shen Yuchu. Liu Ruyan was pulled into the middle. She looked nonchalant, squinting at me. Before pressing the shutter, she suddenly called me, "Chen Zi, come here." I was holding the camera, a bit confused. "The camera is in my hands. If I'm in the picture, who takes it?" A quick-witted person stepped out, took the camera from my hands. I'll take it. You go over there quickly." I consciously stood at the edge of the crowd, burying my head deeper into my collar. Liu Ruyan turned her head to call me again. "Come here." I was pushed to her side by someone. On the other side was Liu Kun, and Shen Yuchu stood in front of us. "Get ready, 3, 2, 1. At the very moment the shutter clicked, Liu Ruyan put her arm around my shoulder. She said, "Happy New Year, Chen Zi." This photo is actually very funny. Looking at it many years later, everyone's expressions were remarkable. I was very close to Liu Ruyan, mouth wide open in shock. Liu Ruyan, who was always serious, raised an eyebrow, eyes curving up, smiling brightly like a young girl. As for Shen Yuchu, she was staring at the hand on my shoulder, her face somewhat distorted. Of course, this was her expression in my memory. In reality, in this photo, her face had long been scratched out by Liu Ruyan. I suspected Liu Ruyan did it on purpose because she let go immediately after the photo was taken. 10,000 possibilities flashed through my mind, and finally I concluded that she was testing Shen Yuchu. That night, perhaps she saw but didn't hear the conversation between Shen Yuchu and me. So now she was probably interacting with me to probe my relationship with Shen Yuchu, checking on behalf of her nephew. The time at the mahjong table and the time at the forest shop were all intentional. Thinking of this, I felt Chen Yan wasn't wrong. I really should stay away from her a bit. This kind of woman with unfathomably deep thoughts, I really can't afford to mess with. But even if I can't mess with her, daily interactions are still unavoidable. On the first day of Tet, my parents dragged Chen Yan and me out of bed early to pay a New Year's visit to the Liu family. Old Master Liu was over 70, but still mentally sharp, happily handing me a large red envelope. I hurriedly refused. No need, really. Liu Kun pulled my arm and said, "Just take it, it's not much." He handed me the printed photo. "Look at this group photo from last night. Your expression is really funny." Liu Ruyan's smile in the photo took my breath away. I unconsciously looked out the floor-to-ceiling window where she was making a phone call. Her back radiated arrogance and aloofness, like an untouchable existence. Old Master Liu looked at us kindly. I even thought I was hallucinating. How could Liu Ruyan smile so happily? I was wondering where you disappeared to last night. Come here, let me see. I respectfully handed the photo over. Old man Liu adjusted his reading glasses. The next second, the smile stiffened on his face. But very quickly, he looked at me with gentle eyes and said to my parents, the kids grow up so fast. Among the children, there are only these two brats. Chen Zi is sensible and thoughtful. I like him very much. It's a pity that I only have a disobedient one like Liu Kun under my wing. You say that, but Ruyan hasn't started a family yet. Wait until she starts a family, and you'll be able to hold your grandchildren. Old man Liu waved his hand and said, Ruyan isn't any less worrisome. She's 30 years old and hasn't brought a boyfriend home once. Don't bring it up. He changed the subject. I really like your family. Chen Zi, he is the same age as Liu Kun, and they have always been very close. How about I adopt him as my god-grandson, so our two families can interact more in the future? As soon as these words were spoken, my parents were overjoyed and hurriedly responded. To be able to take you as a god-grandfather, this is Chen Zi's blessing. Having a kinship with the Liu family is not just about closer daily interactions, but the underlying benefits involved are even more unimaginable. Old man Liu pulled me in front of him and ordered someone to bring a bracelet. If you are Grandpa's god-grandson, then this red envelope isn't enough. This is a pair of bracelets left by his grandmother. You and Liu Kun each get one. Come to Grandpa's house to play often in the future. Logically speaking, usually only children get adopted by godparents. Like this, I'm already this big, I couldn't figure out what old man Liu was plotting, so I looked at my parents for guidance. They signaled to me, telling me to agree quickly. My head was a bit dizzy, but I still obediently thanked him and called him Grandpa. Liu Ruyan just finished her call and entered the house. Ruyan, old man Liu called her back. After I adopt Chen Zi as my god-grandson, him calling you youngest aunt will be for real. You must treat him like a biological nephew, just like Liu Kun. Liu Ruyan stopped in her tracks, her eyes cold as black jade, and when she opened her mouth, her voice had lost its calm. Father. Old man Lia's face also darkened, and he said coldly, It's decided then. Don't forget your status. Come here and give red envelopes to the kids. But Liu Ruyan walked straight upstairs, leaving behind an apology. I still have work to deal with. The atmosphere was very strange. Liu Kun immediately went to old man Liu's side, coaxing him from gloomy to cheerful, but my mind was a mess. Liu Ruyan probably hated me a little. The adults talked downstairs while Liu Kun dragged me upstairs, asking me to help him pick out clothes. I'm going out with Yu Chu tomorrow. Tell me which outfit I should wear. There was a look of anticipation on his face. It seemed good news with Shen Yu Chu was coming soon. Actually, I didn't feel heartbroken anymore, but there was always a thorn in my heart. If they were mutually in love and would end up together eventually, then why did Shen Yu Chu waste 2 years of my time? I thought about it for a long time and asked that question. Do you like her? His expression froze, then he quickly smiled and said, She's very good to me and very suitable for me. This didn't sound like something Liu Kun would say. From childhood to adulthood, the clothes he wore, the things he used, had to be what he liked the most. He never settled for less. As friends who grew up together, even if our relationship wasn't that close, when it came to romance, I hoped he would think it through. If you two liked each other before, why didn't you get together? He didn't say anything more. His gaze shifted to a photo on the bedside table. In the photo, it was snowing heavily in Manchester, and Liu Kun was holding a woman in his arms. That woman looked a bit familiar, but I couldn't remember who she was. His eyes gradually turned red, his hand gripping the clothes tighter and tighter. Seeing his mood drop, it didn't bother him anymore. I made an excuse and voluntarily left the room. The study door in the hallway suddenly opened, and a hand pulled me inside. I was just about to exclaim in surprise when Liu Ruyan pinned me against the door. Her face was very close to mine. I could even clearly see her slightly trembling eyelashes. Youngest aunt, what are you doing? Her breathing was a bit heavy, brushing lightly against my face. Chen Zi, I'm only 8 years older than you. You don't need to call me so old. Wasn't it true that Chen Yan and Shen Yu Chu, who were only 3 years younger than her, also called her youngest aunt? Why was I calling her old when I said it? I looked at her with some confusion. Her gaze was burning hot, causing me to unconsciously tilt my head to avoid it. A moment later, she softly whispered an apology, loosened her hand beside me, and took half a step back. I pushed the door open and ran out as if escaping. Liu Ruyan was acting a bit strange, scaring me until my cheeks burned and my breathing became rapid. Liu Kun, are you here? Shen Yuchu, holding a cup of tea, had just walked up the stairs and ran into me. Seeing me out of breath, she quickly walked over, pressed the back of her hand against my forehead. Do you have a fever? Your face is so red. I told you, you have to dress warmly in winter. I messaged you a few days ago telling you to keep warm, but you blocked me. Her tone was so concerned that I was a bit flustered, as if she was still the Shin Yu Chu of the past. I regained my composure, brushed her hand away and said, I'm fine. You say you're fine, but look at your complexion. No matter what, I hope you're doing well. I didn't expect that without me. You couldn't even take good care of yourself. I was a bit annoyed, gave her a push, and said coldly, "I'm fine." Shen Yuchu clearly didn't expect me to push her. Her hand trembled. The scalding hot tea spilled all over the floor, quite a bit splashing onto my leg. It was hot. I gasped in cold air and immediately squatted down. Shen Yuchu panicked a bit. She wanted to help me up, but at that moment, hearing the noise, Lu Kun just happened to walk out of his room, and her hand froze in midair. "Is Chenzi okay?" Lu Kun hurriedly ran over and pushed Shen Yuchu. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and take him to get treated." With Lu Kun's permission, Shen Yuchu finally came to her senses and bent down to help me. At that moment, a pair of hands cut right in between. It was Liu Ruyan. I remembered Liu Ruyan's hands, slender and bony. She had handed me a boxing manual and had placed them on my shoulder. Liu Ruyan once again used her hands to help me up, walking steadily towards the nearest room. Her embrace was very warm. I leaned against her chest, hearing her steady and strong heartbeat. I saw Shen Yuchu's silhouette, stumbling after us, ignoring Lu Kun. Then I was in so much pain I couldn't open my eyes. I only felt her putting me down and gently taking off my socks. When the cold water poured down, at first the pain was more intense, but gradually the pain subsided quite a bit. I slowly opened my eyes, and Liu Ruyan came into view, her bony jawline distinct. Her eyes looked deeply at me, the corners of her eyes red. My arms were still wrapped around her neck. The scene was a bit ambiguous. I shyly let go and thanked her, but her arm placed under my knees suddenly trembled, scaring me so much that I hurriedly hugged her again, holding on tight. Careful not to fall. Shen Yuchu's gaze at the door became sharp, as if trying to pierce through this scene. Her words were laced with a bit of gritting teeth. "Youngest aunt is really too attentive to her nephew, isn't she? But isn't it a bit too intimate?" Liu Ruyan didn't turn her head and spoke word by word. "I only have one nephew. Also, this is my private room. Please get out." Shen Yuchu's face turned pale, and eventually she turned and left. After confirming multiple times that I was okay, Liu Ruyan helped me down from the sink, then sat down on the edge of the bed. I recalled she just said this was her room, so now I was sitting on her bed. For a moment, I couldn't sit still, propping myself up to stand, but she pressed one hand on my shoulder to sit me back down. "Don't move around." She placed my leg on her lap, dried the water with a towel, and gently applied burn ointment with a cotton swab. The touch was very light. I barely felt any pain. Unlike the usual angle of looking up, this time I was looking down at her and could even see the top of her thick hair. I didn't know where I got the courage to ask her, "Youngest aunt, do you really hate me?" The movement of her hands paused. She didn't lift her head and asked back, "Why do you think that?" I thought for a moment and said, "When Grandpa Liu adopted me as a god-grandson, didn't you disagree?" She smiled to herself, her voice warm like jade. "That old man is scheming. I didn't accept it. But that doesn't mean I hate you." Liu Ruyan actually described her own father like that. I was so shocked my jaw almost dropped. But since she said she didn't hate me, I boldly asked further, "On the day of Liu Kun's homecoming party, did you see me in the garden?" She didn't speak, waited until she finished applying the medicine, put my leg down, and then slowly said, "I saw you." Even though I knew the answer, my heart still skipped a beat. "Then do you know about the relationship between me and Shen Yuchu?" Hearing Shen Yuchu's name, her expression darkened and her voice lowered slightly. "I know." "And Liu Kun?" So, she stood up and gently tapped my forehead with her knuckles. "Still have the mind to worry about others. Liu Kun won't like her. It's just unrequited love on her part." I nodded. Waiting for her to go out and call Chen Yan, I realized how affectionate that action just now was. It's over. Liu Ruyan is really strange. Chen Yan's hand wasn't convenient, so in the end, it was still Liu Ruyan who helped me downstairs and let Chen Yan help me home. When we got downstairs, Shen Yuchu was sitting on the sofa, her eyes following me without leaving, not afraid at all that others would see the clue. She was probably crazy. The one who said we had to hide it was her. I glared at her. Chen Yan noticed my expression, a bit confused. "Why are you looking at her like that? Yuchu accidentally burned you? Are you holding a grudge?" I said with ill intent. "That's right. Sis, I don't want to see her right now. My leg hurts whenever I see her, so for the time being, don't bring her to our house anymore." Chen Yan thought about it and nodded. Early the next morning, Shen Yuchu used an excuse to run to my house. Chen Yan blocked her outside the door with one hand, rejecting her. "Didn't you want to go out with Liu Kun today? Why are you still here?" I was sitting on the sofa with my legs crossed watching anime, only hearing her voice drift in. "I burned Chenzi like that. I'm in no mood to go out. Let me in to see him." Luckily, I had prepared in advance, letting Chen Yan be my spokesperson. "Don't come anymore. My brother doesn't want to see you recently." Shen Yuchu was bluntly rejected. Chen Yan walked over and sat down beside me. "Right." She seemed to remember something. "Youngest aunt asked me to send her your WeChat saying you were injured at the Liu house, so she has an obligation to care about your recovery progress." Seeing me say nothing, Chen Yan was very thoughtful. "I know you're timid and don't like interacting with strangers. How about I help you refuse?" "No." I suddenly looked up. "Send it to her." As soon as I said that, Chen Yan's expression became complicated. I also realized my tone wasn't quite right and hurriedly corrected myself. After all, she's an elder and we've acknowledged the kinship. It would be a bit rude to refuse. Less than 10 minutes later, I received a friend request from Liu Ruyan. Her WeChat was just like her person, pitch black avatar, empty nickname, clean wall. Simply put, there was nothing. She sent a message, better? I replied, much better, thank you, youngest aunt. The other side showed, typing several times but sent nothing. My leg healed completely after resting for a few days. Chen Yan also had her cast removed. Parents teased that the cement in our house had finally passed and the two kids didn't need to be missing arms and legs anymore. After TET, it was time for the internship. A design position in the right major, normal benefits, but interning at a top company in the industry was very valuable. After the initial phase, I had to report in. Chen Yan bought me a small apartment near the company and stuffed a lot of handy self-defense tools into my bag. Call me if anything happens. Be careful with everything yourself. She organized my solo life perfectly, making me feel she was reliable for the first time. A few days later, I received a message from Liu Ruyan. Heard you moved out for your internship. I replied to her, it's a bit far from home. After a long time, she finally replied, haven't sent it yet. After I sent it, she didn't reply to messages anymore. Until the next evening, waiting for you downstairs. I had just finished overtime and completed the design and hurriedly ran downstairs to the apartment. A Bentley Continental was parked downstairs. I ran over from behind the car, the driver's window slowly rolled down, the rear-view mirror reflecting Liu Ruyan's face. Youngest aunt, why are you here? Socializing nearby came to check. Socializing doesn't require a driver nowadays? After speaking, both of us fell silent. I had to turn my head and ask, want to come up and hang out? No need, get in. I pulled the back door but couldn't open it no matter what. Sit in front, she said in a low voice. I had to sit in the passenger seat. Liu Ruyan took me to a private restaurant. The location was a bit remote, but the area was large and the environment was good. Water pavilions, towers, a scene with every step. There was no menu in the restaurant. Liu Ruyan asked me what I wanted to eat. I casually mentioned a few dishes. Unexpectedly, they could make them all. I couldn't help but secretly assess her. She was very polite when eating. Food picked up with chopsticks didn't fall into the rice bowl and didn't make a single sound. The light overhead shone on her face, her eyelashes casting a deep shadow. I think God loves the world, and Liu Ruyan is the favored one. Born with everything, wealth, extraordinary status, intelligence, inner charisma, body, and appearance. I couldn't help but wonder, does someone like that have worries? What are you thinking? She looked up and asked me. I was wondering if you have anything troubling you. She pursed her lips as if thinking. Yes, she answered after a while. I don't know how to win a boy's heart. Her deep black eyes locked onto me. Were there poisonous mushrooms in the food, making me hallucinate? When panicked, people pretend to be very busy. I quickly bowed my head, ladled a bowl of soup, picked up some vegetables, and added some rice. Luckily, Liu Ruyan didn't continue. She asked me about the work environment and living conditions. I answered respectfully as if to an elder. Finally, she asked me, does Shinyuchu still look for you? I shook my head, blocked phone and WeChat. She had no way to find me even if she wanted to. Besides, she and Liu Kun were very intimate. Yesterday, I even saw her post on her wall, photos of the two of them going to a concert. After eating, she drove me home. Work has been really tiring lately. Her car smelled very nice, and I didn't know when I fell asleep. After a long time, I vaguely felt a warm breath blowing on my face. Opening my eyes, Liu Ruyan was right there, our eyes meeting. She leaned in, her hand placed on my side. I seemed to hear my own heart beating. Hesitating whether to close my eyes, with a click, the seatbelt buckle popped open. She sat up straight, hands on the steering wheel, saw you sleeping uncomfortably, helped you unbuckle the safety belt. Her tone was normal, making someone who overthought like me look even more like a fool. Thank you, youngest aunt. I'll go first. I rushed out of the car as if escaping, glimpsing Liu Ruyan stopping by the roadside, not starting the car for a long time. Until I walked downstairs, only then did she leave. The phone notification bell rang. It was a message she sent. You can call me if anything happens. Stay safe. 7 or 8 degrees at night. I was as hot as a sweltering summer. Just finished running 800 meters. Couldn't even breathe properly. Below the message was one from Chen Yan. You two happen to be near your place. I asked her to bring you some stuff. Did you get it? My footsteps stopped. Looking up, I saw Shen Yuchu already in the corridor, cigarette butts scattered everywhere, seeming to have waited for a very long time. She stared straight at me. I wanted to take the bag from her hand, but she froze in place and didn't let go. Why did Liu Ruyan drive you home? What does it have to do with you? Do you know how long I've waited for you? Phone, WeChat, all blocked. I couldn't conveniently tell your sister. Waited from 7 o'clock until now. Then I saw you get out of Liu Ruyan's car. Didn't I remind you to stay away from her? Her voice was urgent, giving me no chance to interrupt. I glanced at the time. It was past 9 o'clock. Seems I slept for a long time in Liu Ruyan's car. Waiting for her to finish speaking, I was terrifyingly calm. I told Liu Ruyan, although I wasn't the one who said it, she already knows. Shen Yucha's voice was steady, but strained with tension. He knows? Let's not talk about this for a second. No matter how much you like me, no matter how heartbroken you are, finding someone else is fine, but Liu Ruyan is off limits. She's not a good person. Are you crazy? I don't like you anymore. She looked like she had heard a hilarious joke. Her eyes went wide, asking in disbelief. You don't like me anymore? Then who do you like? Liu Ruyan? Her tone disgusted me a little, so I reflexively shot back. Yeah, I like her. Got it? I had never seen Shen Yuchu make such an expression. Her pupils suddenly dilated, her chest heaving with her breath. Her hand gripped her bag tightly, her knuckles turning white. Chenzi, stop messing around. I'll pretend I didn't hear what you said today. If I find out you're still seeing Liu Ruyan, I will tell Chen Yan. I believe she thinks the same way I do. Shen Yushu's shamelessness was beyond my imagination. The perpetrator actually had the nerve to threaten the victim. I snatched the bag from her hand. Her face turned as white as a sheet. The moment I brushed past her, she screamed like she was making a last-ditch struggle. Liu Ruyan almost killed someone. My heart suddenly trembled. I turned to look at Shen Yuchu. She stood there, her back hunched. I went straight upstairs, but my hand pressing the elevator button shook inexplicably. I wouldn't ask Shen Yuchu. She was no longer worthy. I trusted, recalling that Chen Yan also once told me to stay away from Liu Ruyan. I called her. On the other end, Chen Yan was a bit hesitant. No matter how much I asked, it always came back to that same sentence. Just stay away from her. I was only tricking Shen Yuchu anyway. I didn't actually like Liu Ruyan that much. After that, Liu Ruyan would occasionally text me, but I didn't reply. When I went home on weekends, I tried my best to avoid her. Even when Liu Kun invited me to his house for dinner, I politely declined. The next time we met, it was early spring. Despite my repeated vehement refusals, my parents still organized a grand birthday party for me. I couldn't exactly not show up. Liu Ruyan arrived very late, looking like she had just come from the office. Liu Kun rushed over. I stood on the spiral staircase, looking down at her once again. My mind uncontrollable, I remembered the scene of her lifting my leg to apply medicine. Someone like that? I couldn't even imagine her hands stained with blood. Would she really kill someone? As if sensing my gaze, she looked up. Just as our eyes were about to meet, Shen Yuchu suddenly called me from behind. Chenzi, happy birthday! She took out a carefully wrapped gift. I thanked her out of politeness and told the maid to take it downstairs. A spark of hope flashed in her eyes, as if expecting a reaction from me. Aren't you going to open it? You'll definitely like this gift. Sister Yuchu, Liu Kun is downstairs. You should go over there quickly. Hearing how I addressed her, a look of surprise flashed across her face. The light in her eyes dimmed. I turned back around. Liu Ruyan was nowhere to be seen. I've thought through a lot of things lately. I was so stupid before. I interrupted her impatiently. Everyone is watching. Are you sure you want to hash out old times with me here? Her face looked awful, but ultimately she didn't continue. I don't know why, but a sense of loss rose within me. It seemed I was becoming strange too. It seemed I was looking forward to seeing Liu Ruyan. Chen Yan arranged for me to sit on the side, saying thoughtfully, I know you can't handle these occasions. Just go sit somewhere cool. I'll come get you later. She went to socialize with the guests, toasting and drinking, making me feel tired just watching. When I was so bored I was about to doze off, I suddenly heard a voice, filled with Chen Yan's uncontrollable rage. How dare you come here? My drowsiness was immediately scared away. Logically speaking, Chen Yan would never swear in front of others. I stood up, and past Chen Yan's back, I saw the woman standing at the door. Her body was leaning to one side, her entire weight resting on the crutch in her hand. And that face full of terrifying scars was the nightmare I never wanted to see again in my life. Memories rushed back to that cold, wet, rainy night. The woman's chaotic breathing, her disgusting voice, the touch crawling over me like a snake. The lights before my eyes and the darkness of my memories intertwined, and my ears were filled with the sound of rain pattering from that night. As the world spun around me, a pair of hands steadied my arm. I instinctively tried to push them away, but they held on tight to my trembling hand. Don't be afraid, it'll take you to rest. My steps were unsteady, half leaning on Liu Ruyan as we left. I only heard the arrogant voice behind us. Chenzi, happy birthday. Remember me? I've been thinking about you all these years. Bai Ningbing, I. Behind us was chaos, things crashing to the floor, loud and ear-piercing. It felt like all the oxygen around me was sucked away. I couldn't breathe. Until Liu Ruyan's hand placed on my back, gently stroking from top to bottom. Take a deep breath. Don't be afraid. But I really couldn't take it anymore. Everything went black, and I lost consciousness. I had a very long dream. In the dream, I was wearing my school uniform, holding a clear umbrella. It was a rainy late autumn day, puddles covering the ground. I carefully avoided them, afraid of getting mud on my shoes and white socks. Liu Kun skipped cram school to go on a date with his girlfriend. He had already told the driver, telling me to go home on my own. It was 8 o'clock when cram school finished. I called Chen Yan. The background was a bit noisy. It sounded like people were cheering, for her and another boy. I asked if she could come pick me up. She said she had something very important to do. The rain wasn't that heavy, so I should just catch a cab home. Such an ordinary day. But it was that damn day, before I even made it out of the alley, Bai Ningbing blocked my path. She said, Chenzi, I like you. The Bai family had spoiled this girl rotten. She likes rabbits for their soft ears, so she cuts them off. She hates puppies barking, so she cuts their vocal cords. I was afraid of her, but I couldn't escape. I said, way isn't love. Besides, I don't like you. To her, liking means possessing, and not liking means destroying me. Let me prove it to you, okay? Prove how much I like you. I was pushed to the ground, covered in filthy water. She trampled my umbrella and choked me. Her disgusting lips pressed against my cheek, my neck. I thought, if only I had walked a little faster that day, even if the dirty water soaked my shoes and socks. The details of the dream started to blur. I just remember someone arrived before the final step, saved me, held me tight, telling me over and over again, I'm sorry. After that, I locked myself in a cramped room, curtains drawn tight, unable to distinguish day from night. At my worst, I had to rely on sedatives and nutrient drips to stay alive, until I received a package, sent by mistake with no sender name. I opened it as if facing a great enemy, unexpectedly finding only a lily of the valley. Bowing its head usually means it's withering, but lilies of the valley aren't bell-shaped flowers. The buds drooping on the stem, they are blooming. The card wrote the flowers' meaning, return to sweetness and happiness. They say those who receive lilies of the valley will be favored by the god of luck. I thought, who knows, maybe it really will get better. When I woke up, my parents and Shen-yan were gathered around my bed. Standing at the door was Shen Yu-chu. I could only see her trembling shoulders. Chen-yan looked like she hadn't slept all night, her eyes bloodshot. I'm sorry, Chen-zi. I didn't expect her to be released early. It probably has something to do with the Bai family's current rise in power. They told me a lot of things, but I didn't absorb a single word. In my daze, I remembered Liu Ruyan again, telling me to breathe deep, not to be afraid. Her voice made me feel very safe. When Chen-yan went downstairs to get my medicine, Shen Yu-chu walked in heavily. She bowed her head, not daring to come close. After a while, she looked up and I saw her red-rimmed eyes. I didn't know something so terrible happened to you. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I didn't understand why she was apologizing to me. This had nothing to do with her. Yet she blamed herself so much she couldn't look at me, repeating her apology over and over, saying she shouldn't have hurt me. You must have gathered so much courage to be willing to trust me, and I let you down. Even to this day, walking down the street, strangers brushing past my shoulder makes me instantly tense up. When I wanted to change, a heartbroken Shen Yu-chu appeared by my side. I thought someone as good as her was worth summoning all my courage for. Even though my palms were sweaty the first time we held hands, and I couldn't stop shaking the first time we hugged, I still felt more happiness than fear. Listening to her ramble, I felt tired again. I turned my back and went to sleep. In my drowsiness, I seemed to hear her suppressed sobs. The Chen family, for the sake of my reputation, kept this matter a secret. I took half a year off school. They only told outsiders I was sick. The Bai family also said Bai Ningbing, who was serving time, was studying abroad. I heard they spent a lot of money pulling strings, but she was still sentenced to 5 years. The Bai family used to have business dealings with us, but afterwards, we cut ties. For Bai Ningbing to turn out this way, it had a lot to do with her parents. Kids just messing around, do we really need to make such a big fuss? Besides, there wasn't any substantial harm done, right? Why damage the relationship between our families? Now the Bai family is at the height of their power, and not a force our family can easily oppose. I heard my sister talking very loudly on the phone outside the door. Bai Ran, I'm warning you for the last time. Tell that animal of a sister of yours to stay away from my brother. If there is a next time, she won't just lose one leg. Why was her leg lame, and why was her face full of scars? Chen Yan never told me. In the Chen family, the name Bai Ningbing is taboo. I wanted to ask Chen Yan, but seeing her hand holding the phone, trembling, I said nothing. I met Bai Ran back in high school. He's Bai Ningbing's brother and Chen Yan's classmate, a very handsome older brother. Even though his family favored girls over boys, he still lived freely and uninhibitedly. The night it happened, on the other end of the line, Chen Yan said, your sister is confessing her love right now. It's that Bai Ran guy. You've met him before. The rain isn't that heavy. Just catch a cab home yourself. After that, I never saw him again. I imagine Chen Yan isn't feeling too great right now either. Resting at home for a month, I thought I was much better. There was no need to let the past torture my present self anymore. I suggested returning to work. After begging my parents for a long time, they finally agreed to hire bodyguards and a driver to take me to work. Under their earnest gaze, I sat in the back seat. 2 burly men on either side squeezed me, so I had nowhere to put my arms. The bodyguard's job was to get me to my apartment door. They wouldn't leave until they saw me open the door and go inside. But as soon as I entered the elevator, I ran into Shen Yu-chu carrying bags. Her eyes were a bit evasive, turning away, pretending not to know me. I was a bit speechless and said, "Why are you here?" She stammered. "This place is closer to the company." "Oh, right. I'm moving into the unit above yours. We're neighbors now. If anything goes wrong, call me immediately. Her family's company and this place are worlds apart." Arriving at my floor, I got out of the elevator. She still called out to me from behind. "I left my spare key under your doormat. If you get scared, come up and find me." I ignored her. I took my key out of my pocket to open the door. The door opposite suddenly opened. Liu Ruyan came out carrying a trash bag, locking eyes with me. I was stunned. Shin Yu-chu in the elevator was also stunned. I wondered why the neighbor across the hall wouldn't sell no matter how high the offer. Before she could finish, the elevator doors closed. I dismissed the bodyguards and greeted Liu Ruyan. Youngest aunt, why are you coming out of here? She didn't say anything, approaching me. My breath hitched. I watched as she slowly crouched down, took the key from under the doormat, and put it in my pocket. If anything happens, find me. I'm right nearby. She was wearing off-white loungewear, looking like she had just showered, faintly smelling of body wash. It smelled nice. I should ask her what brand she uses. Someone like this? I really couldn't imagine, her hands covered in fresh blood. Memories crumbled, fragmented memories suddenly overlapping, her hand holding a broken beer bottle, repeatedly smashing it into that woman's face. She said, "Don't be afraid." Approaching footsteps were cut off by my scream. In my daze, I wanted to ask her, but the next second her phone rang. The screen displayed "Old Man." She pushed me inside my door. The moment the door closed, I heard her curl her lips and gently say, "Good night." The next evening, I got a call from Old Man Liu. "I heard Ruyan has moved near you. She treats you like her own nephew. She really cherishes you. Ruyan is getting engaged soon. You and your family must come to the celebration." Hanging up, I felt empty inside. No matter how dense I am, I could hear the implication in Old Man Liu's words. Adopting me as a god-grandson was probably to use moral ethics to bind Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan was right. That old man truly has a wicked heart. I was a bit annoyed seeing the pile of unopened birthday gifts. I violently tore them open as if venting my anger. Opening Chen Yan's cliched savings gift. It's never anything new year after year. Liu Kun gave tickets to the idol meet and greet we were obsessed with in high school, fan meeting tickets. Shen Yu-chu gifted a garden by an internationally famous designer. I once told her I wanted to visit it. I didn't expect she would actually indulge my interest this time and buy it for me. Liu Ruyan sent a thin envelope containing a photo and property deeds. The photo showed a manor in Finland overflowing with lilies of the valley. They were fresh, unpicked flowers, lilies of the valley full of life. But how did she know? Just then, she sent me a text. "Want some late-night snacks?" I politely declined. "No need, thanks." She replied, "Don't call me youngest aunt." Seeing I didn't reply, she sent a question mark. Her playful teasing made me feel much better. But a moment later, the doorbell rang. Liu Ruyan stood at the door holding a bowl of wontons. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" I crossed my arms and smiled. "It's not very convenient." "Why are you visiting my house so late at night?" She frowned. "Did the old man say something to you?" "Yes, he said you're getting engaged soon and invited me to the wedding celebration. How much should I give as a gift?" Relying on her affection for me, I became increasingly brazen, constantly addressing her as sister. Liu Ruyan's face grew darker. How come I didn't know I was getting engaged? She brushed past me and walked in. She placed the bowl on the shoe cabinet. "What? What are you doing?" I seemed to have taken the joke too far. I hurriedly reached out to push her. She grabbed both my wrists with one hand, placing them against her chest. The distance closed, and her familiar breath bore down on me. "Call me sister one more time." Her ears were slightly red, her gaze fixed on my lips. "The wontons are getting cold. Eat them first." I held the bowl of wontons, sitting on the rug, my mind a tangled mess. Liu Ruyan acted as if nothing had happened, sitting on the sofa watching me. I felt like her gaze was burning a hole in the back of my neck. I ate very slowly, thinking as I ate, where should I start later? Ask about that rainy night or the birthday gift. A large bowl of wontons. I finally finished every last bit. I turned around, her arm resting on the back of the sofa, looking at me calmly. It was clearly spring, but I felt a bit suffocatingly hot. It's so hot. I went to turn on the AC. Distracted, I stubbed my toe on the coffee table. I cried out. Before I could sit down to hold my foot, she reached out and pulled me to her side. Being pulled like that, I forgot the pain. Her body was soft, her temperature high, and she smelled wonderful. I leaned close to her chest, sniffing repeatedly like a puppy. Hearing her breathing quicken, I whispered, what kind of body wash do you use, sis?" A crack appeared in Liu Ruyan's composure. The hand on my waist pressed down hard, speaking through gritted teeth. "You did that on purpose." I shook my head vigorously. She held my face with both hands. Seeing the atmosphere getting intense, the doorbell suddenly rang. Shen Yuchu's voice dropped low. "I heard your voice. What's wrong with you?" Liu Ruyan tried to stand up, but I pressed her back down onto the sofa. She looked a bit resentful. I patted her face gently, dragging my lame leg to open the door. Shen Yuchu banged on the door loud enough to wake the dead, so loud it made my ears itch. As soon as I opened the door, she grabbed my shoulders, spinning me around. Seeing that I was okay, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Did something happen just now?" "Right now, I just wanted to get rid of her quickly." "Nothing. You should go up." She continued looking at me with concern. "Why is your face so red? You're not even wearing socks." I was about to push her out when I saw her eyes darken inexplicably. Liu Ruyan swatted her hand away, pressing her chest against my back. Shen Yuchi's face darkened terrifyingly, staring silently at my face like that. I still hadn't figured out what to say when she suddenly turned and left, not wanting me to see her eyes turning red. I stared at her retreating back, moving my lips, but in the end, I said nothing. Liu Ruyan slammed the door shut, cutting off my view. She leaned close to my ear. "Why don't you just glue your eyes to her?" I turned around and pushed Liu Ruyan out too. Days passed normally, and I didn't see Shen Yuchu again. I only received strange calls occasionally where she seemed drunk on the other end, rambling incoherently. You have the wrong number. I'm not Liu-kun. Actually, I heard her calling my name over and over again. Liu Ruyan occasionally came to pick me up from work. She didn't seem busy at all lately, bringing me late-night snacks almost every night. I gained 4 kilos in a month. One day after work, she told me, I have an online video meeting tonight. I'll come over later to watch a movie with you. The bodyguards escorted me to the door and watched me enter. I was a bit bored, looking for a movie to watch later. Should I pick a romantic movie, or a horror movie, or maybe a family drama about aunts and nephews? I bet Liu Ruyan's face would turn blacker than the bottom of a pot. I was browsing when the lights suddenly went out. Looks like the breaker tripped. I was about to go out to check the breaker in the hallway when my hand froze on the doorknob. High-end apartments shouldn't have problems like this. I called Liu Ruyan, but she didn't answer. She must still be in the meeting. I messaged the bodyguards nearby, asking them to come up and check for me. It would take them about 10 minutes to get here. I was about to look for a light when the door suddenly shook. I couldn't help but start trembling, and my phone slipped from my palm, clattering to the floor. There was no more movement outside. The lights inside came back on. I took a deep breath and looked through the peephole to check outside, but it was pitch black out there, as if someone had intentionally covered the peephole. The door started shaking again. A disgusting voice rang out. Chenzi, I know you're in there. Haha. Chenzi, I know you're in there. Ha 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 ha. I desperately covered my mouth, backing away in terror. The lock made a soft clicking sound. A moment later, the door opened, revealing a face that made me nauseous. Bai Ningbing stared at me like a hawk. Thanks to you, I learned quite a few lock-picking skills from those lowlifes in prison. I took a step back, slowly edging toward the bag on the sofa, which contained self-defense tools that Chen Yan had prepared. But Bai Ningbing had already closed the door and was closing in step by step. Why are you hiding from me? I told you, I like you, didn't I? You said that wasn't like, but I've missed you for 4 years, and it took a lot of effort to find you after getting out. Why are you afraid of me? Don't you like me too? When Bai Ran introduced you to me, you were the one who reached out your hand first. Bai Ran once brought her to our house. That was the first time I met her. I greeted and shook hands with her out of politeness. But I never expected that in the eyes of a psychopath like her, this could become proof of affection. I tried to calm myself, but my voice was still trembling. If there's something wrong, let's talk about it properly. Don't come over yet. She acted like she heard a joke, leaning on her crutch, moving slowly step by step. Banging sounds came from the door, and I heard the voice of a frantic Liu Ruyan. Chenzi, open the door. I regretted it so much, I should have given her a spare key. But her voice comforted me greatly. I calmed down and calculated the distance to the door. Bai Ningbing's leg made it hard for her to walk, so if I just ran around her, I could quickly open the door for Liu Ruyan. Faster, run just a little faster. I ran past her with all my might. Bai Ningbing's expression changed, reaching out to grab me, but only grazing the hem of my shirt. When my hand touched the doorknob, my tears fell. But the door seemed broken, the latch jammed in the groove, impossible to open no matter how hard I tried. Bai Ningbing turned around with a ferocious look. Her crutch slowly scraped against the polished floor, creating a piercing sound. I twisted the doorknob desperately, crying and screaming. It won't open! Liu Ruyan! It won't open! Liu Ruyan's hand stopped banging on the door. Her voice sounded muffled, trying hard to sound calm. Don't be afraid. I'm right here. Try again. If it doesn't work, stand aside, and I'll kick the door down. Bai Ningbing was closing in on me. I took a deep breath and twisted the lock back and forth a few times. Click! The door opened. Bai Ningbing lunged forward, grabbing my collar and dragging me over. A cold dagger was pressed against my neck. I heard her disgusting voice. You're here? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Bai Ningbing's face was twisted and grotesque. Liu Ruyan raised her hands, trying to manage her emotions. Don't do anything rash. Put the knife down first. See my leg? You gave this to me. Liu Ruyan, how do you think I should take my revenge on you? She threw the crutch over. What did you use to beat me that day? A golf club? This is close enough. Come on, cripple your own legs with this. You know very well what it sounds like when you use force. Put some effort into it, or this knife will go right into his throat. I struggled desperately. Liu Ruyan shook her head, her eyes fixed on the dagger, pressed against my neck, and she resignedly picked up the crutch, saying, I did the beating that day. He had nothing to do with it. Aim it at me if you have a problem. 1 blow, 2 blows, heavy, dull thuds echoed. Liu Ruyan's forehead was drenched in sweat, and her body shook violently with every hit. But even so, hitting herself until she collapsed to her knees, she still didn't stop. Stop, Liu Ruyan. Stop hitting yourself. She used all her strength to look up at me, but her gaze was gradually losing focus. Bai Ningbing laughed sinisterly in my ear, tapping the cold dagger against my face. Don't rush. Wait until I ruin her legs, then I'll slash your face to make it fair. She moved me to the sofa, her ferocious face inches from mine, covered in centipede-like scars. Terrifying. The dagger grazed my cheek. She muttered to herself, where should I cut first? First the skin, then the nose, and finally the eyes. I closed my eyes in pain, and while she wasn't paying attention, I secretly grabbed the lipstick-shaped pocket knife from my back pocket and stabbed down hard. Bai Ningbing reacted quickly, blocking the knife with her hand, but the pain made her let go. The dagger fell. I stumbled toward the door. Liu Ruyan was speechless. I held her face, calling her name. She weakly lifted her eyelids, saw it was me, felt reassured, and slowly closed them again. I wanted to drag her out the door, but she was too heavy and my legs had no strength, so she didn't budge. Bai Ningbing picked up the dagger. I held the small knife less than 10 centimeters long, facing her with zero chance of winning. She approached slowly like someone who didn't care if she lived or died. I'm already like this. It'd be great to drag you all down to hell with me. When she was less than 2 meters away, she roared like a madwoman and lunged. I reflexively crouched down to shield Liu Ruyan, but the imagined pain didn't come. I opened my eyes, and Shen Yuchu was blocking in front of me. She groaned, straining Bai Ningbing with both hands. Blood dripped faster and faster onto the floor. Fighting the pain, she pushed Bai Ningbing backward until Bai Ningbing fell back, hitting the back of her head on the glass round table nearby. Glass shattered everywhere, and she stopped moving. Shen Yuchu turned to look at me, a large patch of blood spreading across her chest. Seeing I was okay, she let out a heavy breath, unable to hold on any longer, and collapsed to her knees. She slowly fell over, seeming to say something to me, but her voice was unclear. I kept patting Liu Ruyan's face, crying and calling her name. Wake up, Liu Ruyan, wake up! Her face was as pale as paper. Her eyebrows twitched involuntarily. Her eyes still couldn't open, but her lips moved to comfort me. It's okay, it's okay. I hugged her tightly, smearing my tears all over her face. Bai Ningbing was dead. The Bai family caused a scene for a long time, but were eventually silenced by the Liu family. Shen Yuchu was sent to Japan for treatment. During her recovery, she recalled the past, understanding her own feelings clearly. When Liu Kun was 17, Shen Yuchu knew she liked him. She wanted to wait until he got into university to confess, but she waited until he said he was going abroad with his youngest aunt. Shen Yuchu was unwilling to accept it, feelings ending before they even began, not even having the chance to confess. How could she accept that? Chen Yan looked at Shen Yuchu like she was an idiot. When you're drunk, you repeat his name like a broken record. Shen Yuchu said, you don't understand? Unexpressed feelings become a lifelong regret. She looked a bit lonely, but actually saying it out loud wouldn't have made a difference. 3 months after he arrived in the UK, Shen Yuchu finally managed to arrange time off work to fly there. Manchester was having a huge snowstorm, and Shen Yuchu stood downstairs waiting for him. Snow piled up on Shen Yuchu's shoulders, but she didn't feel cold at all. He appeared, walking step by step through the snow, looking adorable. Just as Shen Yuchu stepped forward, a girl called out to him. The girl was thin, and in the harsh winter, she was wearing only a cheap, thin coat. Liu Kun hugged the girl, sobbing. Shen Yuchu watched them embrace, asking a passerby to take a picture, making others envious. The lights on the second floor were on, and Liu Ruyan stood there with a glass of wine, looking down at it all. Shen Yuchu hated that look of hers the most, acting so mature when she was only 3 years older than Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu flew back home that same night. Actually, it didn't hurt that much. She just felt empty inside, the confession ultimately unspoken. Shen Yuchu's words had become a prophecy. It truly became a regret. Shen Yuchu worked day and night, not thinking about Liu Kun too much. She just worked herself to exhaustion and carelessly got into a car accident. Her family forced her to rest properly. Shen Yuchu suddenly had nothing to do, just sitting in a daze every day. Chen Yan saw Shen Yuchu was in a bad mood, so she often told Shen Yuchu to come to my house. 8:40 p.m. My sister has a sharp tongue, but she's a good person. It was during this time Shen Yuchu noticed me. When we were young, my presence was very faint. Standing next to Liu Kun, no one even saw me. I always found ways to sneak into my sister's room just to steal glances at Shen Yuchu, my face redder than the watermelon I was carrying. Shen Yuchu found it a bit funny just seeing me as a little brother. Once, I asked Shen Yuchu about advanced math, but while she was explaining, I fell asleep. The wind blew the workbook pages, flipping to the last page, revealing my elegant handwriting. Unrequited love is a grand, silent play. Shen Yuchu thought that she and I were fellow sufferers. I opened my eyes and looked at Shen Yuchu, my face blushing again. Shen Yuchu, having a moment of madness, asked me, Shenzi, do you want to give us a try? Shen Yuchu felt I was very good. So good she often felt guilty, so she tried her best to treat me well. Seeing my happy face, Shen Yuchu occasionally felt happy too. It's just that Shen Yuchu never took a photo with me. The moment the flash went off in that winter night in Manchester still made her heart ache a bit when she remembered it. I never caused trouble for Shen Yuchu either, always obedient and understanding. I never mentioned Liu Kun in front of Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu thought, it's our 2-year anniversary, feelings are stable, it's time to make our relationship public. But fate likes to play tricks on people. Chen Yan said Liu Kun was coming back, still single, and Shen Yuchu didn't hear anything after that. They grilled Shen Yuchu about me. Shen Yuchu reflexively said she just pitied me, playing around a bit. Actually, Shen Yuchu never thought about it like that, but the answer just slipped out. Shen Yuchu knew she wronged me, but if she could undo her regrets, she still didn't want to miss out. After that, things with Liu Kun went very smoothly, but he didn't seem to like Shen Yuchu all that much. He didn't seem to care much, but there were always surprises. I was very close with Liu Ruyan. I even blushed because of her, just like I did with Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu felt uneasy, unable to describe the feeling, probably worry for me. Liu Ruyan was not someone to be trifled with. After all, that girl from the Bai family had offended her somehow and was beaten half to death before being sent away, and Liu Ruyan herself was ordered by the Liu family to go abroad to lie low. The way she looked at me couldn't hide, a woman's intense infatuation. Women like that are dangerous. Shen Yuchu warned me many times to stay away from her, but I ignored her. The photo taken that night, Shen Yuchu's expression was twisted, but she kept it for many years because it was the only photo of us together, even though the woman hugging me in the photo was someone else, and Shen Yuchu was just an outsider. Shen Yuchu was a bit troubled, smoking one cigarette after another. When she went to a concert with Liu Kun, her mind was filled with the image of Liu Ruyan hugging me. Shen Yuchu, asked Liu Kun, you have someone you like, don't you? Yeah, but she was too poor. Grandpa gave her 5 million and she left. His eyes filled with tears, sniffling as he spoke. But you're okay too, barely acceptable, so let's try it out. The taut string in Shen Yuchu's heart suddenly snapped, remembering that 2 years ago she had asked me the same thing. Back then, my eyes were moist, but now I would never look at her like that again. The next day, Shen Yuchu made an excuse to find me, only to see me blushing, getting out of Liu Ruyan's car. I told her, I don't like you anymore. I like Liu Ruyan. What should she say? She ended up bad-mouthing Liu Ruyan, but I didn't even question it, as if even looking at her disgusted me. On my birthday, the gift Shen Yuchu painstakingly prepared, I refused to even open, my gaze fixed on Liu Ruyan. Shen Yuchu was insanely jealous. Liu Ruyan, what gives her the right? But soon Shen Yuchu knew she had every right. Chen Yan told Shen Yuchu that something terrible had happened to me, and the one who saved me back then was Liu Ruyan. Shen Yuchu had been with me for so long, yet never asked me once what exactly happened during that half year. She even hurt me time and time again, turning a blind eye to my tears. Shen Yuchu moved to the floor above, only to meet Liu Ruyan. She had been one step faster than Shen Yuchu and bought the apartment opposite mine. Later, seeing my lips slightly red as I opened the door, Liu Ruyan hugged me possessively, right in front of Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu couldn't say a word, turning around but unable to lift her feet. Liu Ruyan also came out. She stood beside Shen Yuchu, saying coldly, I gave you a chance. Shen Yuchu didn't quite understand. When there were strange noises downstairs, Shen Yuchu was showering, just rinsing off the soap. She was one step slower than Liu Ruyan again, but Shen Yuchu took a stab for me. Shen Yuchu watched me hugging Liu Ruyan and sobbing, feeling as if it wasn't her shoulder that was pierced, but her heart. Shen Yuchu called me, Little Z, can you look at me for a moment? I held Liu Ruyan's face, never glancing at Shen Yuchu again. I unblocked her number, but never received a message from her again. It took half a year for Liu Ruyan's wounds to heal, before she could gradually get out of bed and walk. Later, I used looking for Liu Kun as an excuse. Running over to the Liu family's house all day. Old man Liu didn't even bother pretending anymore. He glared and puffed out his beard at me, while Liu Ruyan used her weak legs as an excuse to hold on to me openly. I asked him if he still wanted to adopt a grandson. Old man Liu banged his cane on the ground, making a racket. You, for a long time. Finally, Liu Kun stuffed his mouth full of grapes. Grandpa, cut it out, or my youngest aunt will be single forever. After that, he really stayed silent. Chen Yan occasionally visited Liu Ruyan too. She's got more guts now, calling her directly by her name, but her attitude is still very respectful. Sometimes she brings project plans to ask for advice. Liu Ruyan got called a bad investment and walked back dejectedly. Chen Yan probed and said to me, actually, the person who saved you that day? I know it was Liu Ruyan. She scratched her head. Honestly, when I got the call and ran over, Bai Ningbing had already collapsed to the side. She didn't even look human anymore. I was so scared back then. No one was allowed to touch anything. I only dared to look up when I heard your voice. Later, that matter was kept under tight wraps. The Liu family didn't want news leaking out. She also said not to mention it in front of you, so I didn't tell you. She spoke and her eyes turned red again. I patted her back, saying it's okay, then turned my head to glare at Liu Ruyan. She shrugged, pretending to be innocent. As soon as Chen Yan left, I held her face and asked aggressively, when exactly did you start liking me? She pretended to ponder, thought for a long time, then said, I don't remember anymore. I pinched her ear, mocking her. Is it because you're getting old that your memory is failing, huh? Little aunt. Hearing this address, Liu Ruyan reacted like Pavlov's dog, her face darkened, about to explode. I hurriedly coaxed her. I won't call you that. I won't call you that. Don't get angry. She gritted her teeth. It's not that you can't say it. Tonight in bed. I quickly covered her mouth. After fully recovering that day, she led me to the flower garden, waving a small shovel in her hand. She spoke gently. Do you remember your wish jar? I don't remember. She worked hard digging the earth. Although her legs were walking normally, I stood by, still a bit worried. The layer of soil was turned up. A small yellowed glass jar appeared before our eyes. Liu Ruyan picked it up, took a handkerchief, wiped it clean, then handed it to me. Look at this. I nervously looked at the result I expected. She stood by, gesturing. I remember back then you were only this tall, always standing at the end of the line, saying nothing. I thought you were some handsome mute. On the curled piece of paper were crooked lines of writing. I hope to be seen by someone. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I wiped and wiped, but they just wouldn't dry. Liu Ruyan saw this and got worried, hurriedly asking me what was wrong. I rushed into her arms, choking up. Turns out I was always being seen. The end. Next is the monologue of the female lead, Liu Ruyan. My seniority in the family is very high. People 20 or 30 years older than me still have to call me sister. That kid from the Chen family is 3 years younger and calls me aunt. It's funny when you think about it. Since I could understand things, it was endless classes in languages, finance, and horse riding without cease. Even eating and sleeping were strictly regulated. I was deprived of every right to play as a child. In the warm study with the fireplace, tutors lined up to teach. I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window watching them play in the snow. The old man said, born with everything. Then naturally you must accept sacrifice. So I was always the outsider observing them. That little boy from the Chen family also stood in the corner playing all day, and no one turned to say a word to him either. So I became his audience, observing his fingers tightly clutching that 100 yuan bill and that aggrieved look he tried to suppress. At the school gate picking up Liu Kun amidst the crowd of students in uniforms, I could always find him, watching him gradually grow up. At 17, blossoming into a handsome young man, obediently standing in the wind greeting me. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't lie to him. I really don't know when I started liking him. It was a slow and gradual process. That night, it was drizzling heavily. I came home. Liu Kun wasn't home. The driver said, "Classmate Liu Kun is having a birthday party, so no tutoring today." What about him? I wondered if he brought an umbrella. I sat there dazed for a long time, suddenly remembered I had to go out to buy a pack of cigarettes. The umbrella trampled in the alley, and the sound of sobbing. I got out of the car, pulled the golf club from the back seat. Blow after blow came down. That person resisted with all their might, but I couldn't stop, until I heard his crying. I wanted to get close to him, but I was trembling with fear. Finally, I had to call Chen Yan. The old man, who just had to start using a cane, used all his strength to hit my back. How do I usually teach you? Restrain yourself and follow the rules. You did so well before. Are you planning to ruin all my hard work? It's fine to save someone out of kindness, but why beat them to that state? Have you weighed the pros and cons? Is it worth making such enemies? I said. Couldn't hold back. I couldn't hold back. That's the Chen family's business. What does it have to do with you? You still don't know you're wrong, do you? I looked up straight at him. If I had to do it again, I still wouldn't be able to hold back. His hand shook, the cane fell to the ground. That cunning old man who'd been in the game for decades saw through my thoughts with just a glance. He cursed loudly. "You beast, you animal. How old are you?" "He's only 18. I was forced abroad to take over the business. Before leaving, I often sat downstairs at his house, staring at the tightly closed curtains. I sent a bouquet of lilies of the valley, hoping he would have good luck. Then I was busy up to my eyes. Heard he was getting better, checked his alt social media account, and he seemed happy. It was the girl he had eyes on since childhood. I used to see her from downstairs. She was all right. She looked very happy. But seeing Liu Kun receiving gift after gift, all things he liked, while he didn't even have his favorite lily of the valley. That girlfriend didn't seem to care about his interests. I thought it was time to go back. Before returning, I took Liu Kun's phone and called Shen Yu-chu. "This is Liu Ruyan. Liu Kun is coming back soon. I wonder if you have time to welcome him back?" "Oh right, he likes lilies of the valley. The old man was right. I'm not a good person."